main things that we were addressing is how to solve emergency or water crisis issues in Israel. I think Israel is the only country in the world, as far as I know, that municipalities and water authorities are obligated to be prepared to supply water in a different way than the grid in a case of water crisis for 50% of the population in their responsibility. So according to the size of the area, that's how much you be prepared, and it's backed by buying equipment and establishing a network and all the thing, and they are regulated on it and checked on it and need to comply with everything that under the Israeli Water Authority. And the Israeli Water Authority approved to company to supply the equipment for those events. We are one of the company product based on a two-layer technology, which I'll elaborate in a minute. And then about in 2018, when the water crisis in the world started to be more and more severe, we realized there is a big requirement for clean water off-grid solution, especially local and rural areas. We are not the ones that supplying water to a country or a state or a city, but we provide a local rural solution, which I will talk about it in a minute.
Perfect.
So the double-layer bladder, I mean, bladder exists in the world for many times. The only main problem for bladder related to drinking water, that what we call one event product. Once you use it, and it can use it for 2 days or for months, but when you stop using it and you want to put it on the shelf for the next event, basically there is no way to clean it. And even if you can clean it, the first thing you need to do when a water crisis appears and you need to use it is to start using water to clean the bladder. It's a very inefficient way. So, and the Israeli Water Authority came out with a bunch of requirements for a new water storage system. And then that's when we came up with a two-layer bladder. Basically, the idea is that you have the outside layer, which is regular material used on every bladder in the world. But then inside, we put a liner, which is food graded, very low cost. And once the event is finished, you throw away the liner, put a new one, and then it has a shelf life of 3 years, and it can stand on the shelf. And when you need to use it, you take it for the shelf and deploy it immediately. No cleaning, no maintenance, nothing. And around this concept of bladders, we developed a line of product, starting with emergency orientation, but then moving to other area also. We have bladders from 10 liters up to 20,000 liters. As I said, it's a fast deployment. It's very, the change of the liner takes about 10 minutes. If you want, it's like changing the cover of your duvet at home, but the opposite side. It takes, one of the requirements was minimal storage space, because rigid tank, if you have a 10 cubic meter tanks, it takes a volume of 10 cubic, even if it's empty. But a 10,000 liter bladder takes about, it comes in a bag of about 2 meter on 50 centimeters. So very much saving in storage. It's durable, you don't need any chlorination, any cleaning. One of the advantages that the bladder is closed, so no contamination from the outside can enter it, and also there is no air inside, because the bladder is collapsing when the water goes up, and coming up when the water is in, so almost there is no air inside. So that's all the advantages that came up with the product. Around it, we developed what we called water distribution stations. What you see here on the right left is a standard distribution station that is used in Israel when water crisis happens. They deployed such station which is a bladder. It can be, this is 2,000 liters, this is 5,000 liters. We can do so station up to 10,000 liters. There is a light aluminum stage that we produce, and it's connected to taps on stand. And remember, we're talking about an event that you can't use the water from the grid. And those stations are located in central areas like community centers, schools, places where the community can get easily. And people are coming and taking water to use until the grid will be operated again. Of course, you can put the bladders on the ground and deliver the water by a solar pump, small solar pump. Here is another stage that we developed for a smaller bladder for agricultural purposes. I'll talk about it in a minute. And this is what we call the bladder stack. We can stack bladders at any size that we want and provide basically any water storage that needed. One of the issues that came up with the emergency management of water is how to deliver water to the area where the water is not available. So we developed several water transportation equipments. One of them is a spider. Actually, this product was developed under a requirement of the US Special Forces. They wanted a replacement for the old Buffalo, which everybody knows the Army is using till today. The problem with the Buffalo is that you use it for, you have an automotive system that costs a lot and you need to maintain it yearly. And you rarely use it. Most of the time it stands. You bring it to the place and it stands. So they came to us and told us, look, we have the standard trailer of the Army. We want something for water on this trailer that we can drop and go away with the trailer and use it for other things. So that's where we developed the spider. The nice thing about the spider, we can adapt it to any vehicle. Just need to know the dimension and the weight limitation of the vehicle. You can see here a spider on a pickup. This is a spider on a military trailer. This is a 2,000-liter spider on an Israeli Defense Forces truck. And this is a spider on independent vehicle. So it's a very versatile equipment, and payload can be varied. We have the water. We can put a diesel bladder inside and have it as a mobile diesel station, and we can put our water purification system, which I'll talk about in a minute, and solar system. So it's a very versatile unit that can be used for many things. For first responders, we developed several solutions. First of all is what we call the Geriflex, basically a flexible jerrycan, which the advantage that when you finish using it, it doesn't take any space and you can hang it anywhere. We have it also on a backpack solution, so you can for carrying water for usage of first responders. And then we have two solutions for what we call lagoon for pickups. One is on the bed of the pickup. Depends on the size of the pickup, but usually it's around 200 liter. And on the bed of the pickup is between 500 to 800 liter. And above it, you can put any other materials. This configuration was used very successfully in Israel. About 2 years ago, we had the situation of many fires because of the between Israel and Gaza activities. And actually the farmers were using it to fight the small fires. You have 500 liter, you can easily fight a small fire and prevent it from becoming a big fire. And then we developed two solutions for what we call mega water transportation. When you need to really move a large volume of water from one place to another, Usually you're doing it with a tanker. The problem with a tanker is that no one builds a tanker fleet for a peak situation because of the cost. So you have the tanker for the average use, but when a water crisis arrives and you need a lot of water to transport in a very short time, you need some other solution. So one of them is what we call the Flexon, is a kit that convert any 20-foot container into a 24,000 liter tanker. We don't do any change to the container. So you can bring the container, install the kit inside. When the event is finished, take out the kit, and the container can be used for other things. So that's one solution. The other solution is a kit to convert any flatbed truck or trailer into a tanker. Again, flatbed trucks are available everywhere a lot, easily to get them. And within 2 or 3 hours, you convert a 7-meter flat track into a 14,000 liter tanker. 18-wheeler can take 28,000 liters, and we have version for smaller trucks also. And again, it's a very good solution for a peak situation when you need to transfer significant amount of water. And then we have, using the Flexon, by the way, can also be used as a stationary water storage. It doesn't have to be, it can be mobilized, but it can be also stationary. And build on the Flexon, we basically can build any water storage that required. We pack them in 2 or 3 floors, all of them connected together. So for the user, it's a one big storage. There is one water in and one water out port. And there is no limitation of the size. What's the advantage of it? Very short setup. You just need a relatively flat area. You don't need to pave it. You don't need to cement it. You don't need to do any local work. You place the containers, connect them with the pipings that we provide, and in a very short time you have working water storage. It's reusable. It can be relocated. And you get a redundancy. If one of the bladders needs to be maintained, you just disconnect it from the rest of the bladder, and the rest of the storage keep working. So you have a very big redundancy and efficiency. And then we're coming to where we saw we need to provide. That's when we have, as I told you at the beginning, about 2010, we realized there is becoming a problem, especially in rural areas, for clean water. And then we came up with 2 solutions for off-grid clean water supply. First one is the Easy Puro, which is it's a reverse osmosis system. As you can see, it's a very small system. It's 40 on 40 centimeter, 140 centimeter, and takes about 35 kilograms. For operating, it needs less than 1 kilowatt hour, means that it can easily work on 3 solar panels. And it's fully automated system. So there is no maintenance, no technical things, nothing. The operator doesn't need to do anything. It just punch the amount of water. So, sorry. The system is it's a robotic system, very compact, can be easily deployed, easily installed. We have currently installation in Israel, Colombia, United States, and Argentine. Hopefully soon we'll have installation in Europe and in Africa. And then we have also the same concept with a little bit different system for desalination. Again, small system for desalination, about a little bit less than up to 400 liters per hour. Of course, desalination uses much more energy because it's working on much higher pressure, but it's a very compact system. So, and again, those systems are aimed for rural application, villages, small community, hospitals, those kind of things that can get clean water for drinking or for agriculture. The other solutions that we have is atmospheric water generator, where we're condensing water out of the air. We are not the first one to do it, of course. The unique thing about our technology is that we looked at it in order to reduce the amount of energy the system requires. One of the big problems or about a big issue with the atmospheric water generator is the amount of electricity they need to operate, especially at night. And we developed technology, we called it stored energy in water. Well, basically during the day when solar is available, we're storing energy in the water, and then during the night, when there are the preferred conditions for condensation, we use the water for doing the condensation, and we almost don't need any energy during the night. Very small amount just to run a small pump. So the cost of the system is reduced significantly because we don't need batteries for the off-grid system. And if we're working on the grid, the amount of energy we're consuming is much less than a similar system. The idea is that we're using heat pump with a cold storage. The size of the storage depends on the amount of water we want to produce. Then we have our own condensation unit, which has inside the heat exchanger. And all of it is controlled by a very unique control algorithms that make the usage of the water very, very efficient. And of course, the water is collected into one of our bladders. As I said, it can be off-grid and it can be on-grid, of course. Similar concept, if you want, to the atmospheric water generator is a system to produce hot water off-grid. When, again, we're using heat pump in order to produce water by solar energy, again, using the concept of storing energy in water. And the advantage here that for hot water for human uses, mainly for bathing, you don't need to be above 40-45 degrees. That's enough for taking shower. So we are able to work on solar energy and provide for remote location a hot water supply. Can be applicable for hospitals, of course, for communities, villages. And then the last thing I want to share with you is how we think, how we propose for small villages, small farming, sorry, how we propose to use water for agriculture. It can be used when any water source can be used. It can be a well, it can be brackish water, it could be a river, it could be a sea. According to the status of the water, let's say, we decide if we need to treat the water or we can use the water directly for the agriculture. And then it delivered to local storages besides the farms, which are based on our stages. And the water is delivered by gravity from the only pump we have is a solar pump to pump the water from the source. From the stages, the water is delivered by gravity through a drip irrigation system. I'm sure you know Israel is leading in drip irrigation, and there is a new development of a company called Drip now that they're using very low pressure water for irrigation. So a combination of water by gravity and drip irrigation can provide a very good solution for watering, and especially for small farms, where they have their own limitation. Depends on the size of the farm. You can use more than one system to supply water to a farm, but that's a basic idea. That's it.